guys, welcome to the craft video with Miss Haley. So this week we talked about the little boy that Jesus used in order to feed the 5,000. He only came with a couple loaves of bread and only a few pieces of fish, but because he was generous and willing to give it over, Jesus was able to take a small thing, feed thousands of people, and better yet, leave leftovers, 12 baskets worth from one basket. So I thought it would be fun this week to go on a family baking adventure. So grab your mom, your dad, your sister, brother, cousins, whoever you guys are living with right now, and wash your hands and begin your baking adventure. So in the description below, I've added a couple links for different types of bread you can do. There's some fun bread to make shapes. There's bread that's just sweet bread. There's just a bunch of different recipes. The one I'm specifically going to be doing is a scone. So my recipe is a little bit different than the one that I've linked to below, but I will tell you what I'm using. It's pretty similar to how they baked it. You are more than welcome to replace anything you want in any recipe, or you can make cookies, you can make cinnamon rolls, whatever you want to do, your favorite things. What matters is that you guys are together and that you have fun baking and sharing afterwards. So I personally like to use whole wheat flours. So for this recipe, I used half whole wheat and half all-purpose flour. I like to use cane sugar, and because I eat plants, I'm plant-based or vegan, I use some different replacements like coconut oil instead of butter, and I make an egg using flax seed instead of actual dairy eggs. I don't even know if eggs are dairy, I don't know. But you are more than welcome to do it however you want. You could use a real egg, you could use a bunch of butter. You can just make it however you want. It doesn't matter as long as it tastes good to you. So for this recipe, it asks that you make the flax egg separately, and then you pour in your milk and all your flavoring. This specific scone that I made is a almond maple scone. So the amounts that I put in here, I did the normal flaxseed amount like the recipe asks for. I put the same amount of milk, almond milk specifically, because I love my nut milk. And in order to make it taste like maple almond, I put a teaspoon of almond extract and 2 tablespoons of maple syrup in here. So while that sits, I mixed all my flour, my salt, and my sugar in this bowl, just like the recipe asks for. I didn't change anything with that, except that I used 1 cup of whole wheat and 1 cup of all-purpose flour. So once you do that and you get your salt, sugar, baking soda, and everything all mixed up, you then take this mixture of your egg and milk and you pour it into that one, and then you mix it all together until you get a wet dough. So that is what we have right here. So this is only half of it. I've already prepared the other half, but what you're gonna wanna do is put some flour on a surface. That's the fun part, it's getting messy. And you're gonna wanna spread them out. I separated it into 2 so that my scones are a little smaller. And so what you're gonna do is you take a knife with the helps of your parents. Make sure you are doing this with mom and dad or someone around, big sister, big brother, in order to make sure you stay safe. This knife is sharp and the oven's hot. Really hot, 400 degrees specifically. So you're gonna wanna cut this into pieces, however you wanna do it. Then you're gonna end up with these little triangles. Almost looks like a pizza. And you're gonna wanna take a pan that you put some paper on, or a baking sheet, whatever you wanna do, and you just spread them out onto the pan. So I know I went pretty fast with this, but like I said, the recipe is below. This is just some fun interaction and to show you how it is I like to make my scones. All right, so you wanna lay them out and spread them out a little bit, and then you're gonna throw them into the oven. Or don't throw them, just put them in. And they will sit in there for 20 to 25 minutes, depending on how you like it. So while I waited, I decided that I wanted to make a frosting or a glaze for my scones. Because it's almond maple, I decided to make one out of maple syrup, just like the maple syrup that I put inside the scone too. This is one of my favorites, it's so good. And with that, I put about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup with a cup of powdered sugar and then some milk. I didn't measure the milk, I just did it until I had the consistency I want. So once the scones are done, you're gonna let them cool, and then you're gonna dip them in the frosting, let the frosting harden, or eat them hot and messy, whatever you wanna do. like I said, there are so many different recipes that you can do, and I know me and the entire community would love to see them. So make sure you take your pictures and you put them online on the Saltworks Slack page, where we all are doing our best to interact during this time of social distancing. So with that, go ahead and watch the next video with Miss Janae on midweek devotions, and don't forget your prayer challenge to sit and ask God, what is it that you have that you can give in order to help your community or love those around you. Anyways, I love you guys, flower hands and all, and have a great rest of your week.